You just stand by this one. You can either stand here or behind. Tēnā koutou, nau mai, haere mai, piki mai, hoki mai. Talofa malo le seofio maua, ma le lange matawhi. It's my great pleasure to begin our proceedings by inviting Reverend Whitiwhiti Luatua to come and bless our event, our esteemed event today. So please come on up.
I raro iho te tua nui a tātou whare nei. Kua mi mua tātou ki te atua. Ko ia te ara ma tātou katoa. Ko ia te timutanga. Ko ia te whakamutanga. Nō reira, tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. E minoi tātou. Let us pray. E te atua o te rangi mari e. E whakawhitai ane mātou ki a koe o mātou mahi katoa o tēnei wiki. O tēnei kaupapa o te University ko Canterbury. O tēnei I mene o ngā inoi whakawhitai ana mātou ki a koe. E whakawhakaro I tō aro e ioua. Tō mātou kaimaka, tō mātou kaihoko. Le atua sirisiri se, e pa ia lava lau whio, o le atua, o le tua fua, o le nā fua I mea le uma. Mātou whawhataile ne whiawhi, o le whamoe lau au auna, le whionga ia le lia e. Ai mai se o le mamalu tu whātasi o le universite, le whaamoe sa lupe, o lea ua e whanua, le tau mawhainga. Mātou te whaaftai ai lau o whio no lau whātasi mai, nei tau sanga tele sa tau mawhai mai ai. A o lea lava, o mātou taulima ina, le mea tā ua, o le mea lofa o le poto, leo le a mātou whaasoa ina le whiawhinei. Mātou wala au ia whaamunuia lau whio, I lau au auna e maise o le tāpenanga. Ina ia longo maa lia le whaalongo, pa ia ma le mamalu le tunu. Ai maise o le au wala au lia, pe o nā whanga I le ne whiawhi. Almighty God, we praise and adore you for your never-ending mercy and grace upon us. As we gather here this evening, we give you thanks for your protection, your guidance and sense of direction upon the work that we do. Tonight, as we come together, we give you thanks for Lelie's achievements in his academic journey, that he's going to share with us this evening, part of the product of his endeavors. And we pray for your blessings upon him, as he shares that with us. So come upon us, O Lord, through the power of your Spirit, and bless this evening, so that we may glorify your mighty and precious name. In Jesus we pray. Amen.
Whawhatai. A tina koutou I ngā hau e whā, kua hui hui mai nei, ki te ako I te o le ala I le pule o le tautau, I tēnei rā. Ko Jane White tako wingoa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. It's my great pleasure to introduce tonight's speaker, but to also locate tonight's public lecture in the Pedagogies of Possibilities Research Group Network, which is really committed to an emphasis on understanding possibilities for pedagogical futures for our learners across this beautiful country of ours, and its multicultural and bicultural focus. We are very committed to research active endeavours and also very outward looking to the community. So we're very keen to work with the community in this particular kaupapa. So we have so far run up over 6 lectures, and tonight's lecture is the 7th in our series, and hopefully there's going to be a lot more, and it's been really encouraging to see how many of you have decided to take the time to join us tonight, and we're hoping that there'll be many more opportunities in the future ahead. So tonight's process will be that we will first hear from our esteemed speaker. Then there'll be an opportunity for discussion, and I'm aware that we're also speaking to an online community here, so hopefully we can invite some discussion following tonight via emails and chats and things. And then we'll move on to some food, so I hope you'll be able to join us for some light refreshments and further discussion with Tufulasi. So now I want to move on to introducing Tufulasi himself. Lea lele ia, Tufulasi tafa ova Taleni. It's from the village of Avaya Whaia, Eva in Samoa. He arrived in New Zealand in 1985 and settled in my hometown, actually, in Southland, in Invercargill. He studied at Otago University and continued his esteemed career in education as a teacher over many years. He's married, his wife is also called Jane, and they have 4 children, Layman, Hiram, Seth and Sienna Jane. A lot of Janes in this room. Following a very successful career as a classroom teacher in 2002, Tufulasi joined the University of Canterbury as Senior Pacifica Educational Advisor, and then in 2016 took up the role as Kairahi Pacifica for University of Canterbury. In that role, Tufulasi coordinated and led a number of key Pacifica initiatives in his leadership role, with both within the university and also in the community itself. In 2017, Tufulasi was awarded the 2017 New Zealand Association of Research and Education Ray Monroe Award, which recognised the excellence of his master's thesis. And very exciting for the Pacific community. He was the first ever researcher to receive that award, I understand. Recently, in 2021, Tufulasi transitioned from his Kairahi Pacifica role to his current role as Senior Lecturer in our Faculty of Education here at University of Canterbury. Along with this, Tufulasi also holds a leadership role in the government's 10-year National Science Challenges called A Better Start, E Tipu e Rea, through the Child Wellbeing Institute, and I'd like to acknowledge some of our colleagues from the Institute here tonight. Excitingly, Tufulasi has recently submitted his doctoral thesis and has the omnipresence of his oral examination lurking in the weeks ahead. So we wish him well in that endeavour. Probably it will be no surprise to you to discover that his area of research is Pacifica education, but his specific focus is on the impact of effective leadership on raising engagement and achievement of Pacifica students. Alongside his academic work, Tufulasi also serves on several national advisory groups and is also serving as a bishop in his church here in Christchurch. He holds 3 key matai, or chiefly roles, in his aianga family, and his village of Vaiawhaiiwa. He values very much the words of his late father, Lealeale Ova Taleni, who said, "To become an effective leader, you must be a servant first. Learn as much as you can while becoming a leader in the future. Learn to love, learn to respect, learn to persevere, learn to serve with humility, and never forget where you belong. Always look after your name." It is on the basis of these words and this wisdom that Tufulasi comes to us today. I now hand over to Tufulasi, who I know will help us to explore many pedagogical possibilities in the contemplation of these important values, not only for the beautiful Pasifika learners of today and tomorrow, but perhaps for all of us. Thank you, Tufulasi. We're very excited to hear from you. Would you rather have this?
Oh, yes, that way. Otherwise, that's all. I might just use this, yeah. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā ka rangaranga maha. Tēnā rā kou tā katoa. E mihi mai oha, tēnei ki a koutou katoa. Mō tō taenga a tīnanga, mai te tautoko te kaupapa o te rānei. Kei kōnei au nā runga i te kāranga o ngā kaiwhakaere, tēnā koutou. Noku ke te whiwhi kia, whaiwa hei tū mō taku hāpori o te moana nui a kiwa. Mō taku hahi, me taku whānau whānui, e aki ana te taonga o te mātauranga. Kia ora tātou. O te whatalawhatu ni sa pulewanaka, tāloha ni ki rana, mālo i lelei, halo hola keta, Māori. Yeah, and warm Pacific greetings. O pulawa lea tunu, lea soma le whilinga o lea sfoi male mata ngā tila. Tau mai foi le vāna tiu, tau mai le vāna tau. Ya, maulawa lango le vāna whau a whalau. Whaftai atu le tātou community nea fiafi, whai on tātou mafuta foi ma whelai. May I acknowledge you all, your presence here tonight. Thank you very much for coming. It means a lot to the university and, of course, personally to myself. So it's wonderful to have you here with us tonight. Professor Jane White, thank you very much for your warm welcome. Your words connect me to my cultural soul and also demonstrates the essence of my culture. Some of those key values of the culture in connection with the university and the people, the values that are important, the values of manaakitanga, the values of love, aroha, the value of whakaapa-apa, whaalalo, value of respect, the value of service, and as well as the value of te ulawa, nurturing the space, or looking after the sacred space between the university and our people. So may I say, Jane, thank you very much for your warm welcome tonight. The way I turn into the kaupapa of tonight. Very much looking at the introduction and acknowledgement, and then of course I would like to go to the one of my favorite metaphor really is the corn shell. And then I'll visit a little bit about the abstract of this presentation, and of course a little bit about my identity, but the main one really is around the motivation to serve Pacifica education, and of course the metaphor that I used here. the untangling of the tangled net, and then of course the Soalaupulega leadership theory, and also end up with the service of Tautua, and close with a couple of waiata from our community. When I guess at the beginning of the year, I was invited to present this public lecture. It was January really, and I know the lecture will be in September. And I said to a quick answer really to the invitation, yes, I will. Until I woke up this morning and I realized it's today, and I wish I gave a different answer. But it is very much an honor to be here. May I say that I am speaking on behalf of my Pacifica community, my Samoan community. Also like to acknowledge at the same time too a large Pacifica education family around the country that I am representing in this corridor tonight. And also wanted to speak on behalf of my church and all other communities that very much supported me. May I acknowledge at this particular time the University of Canterbury on behalf of our Pacific community, because this lecture really is an opportunity for us as Pacifica people, Pacifica families, to acknowledge the contribution of the university to the lives of many, even my own church, even my community, Samoan community. There are so many of them who are actually all over the world. In our community, serving in many fields, utilizing the knowledge that they gained from this university. Very, very much grateful. It's an honor to be here, up here, and represent my community to thank the University of Canterbury. 150 years, what a remarkable milestone. An amazing milestone of 150 years. And everywhere I go in the world, you always hear those who have been educated and utilize the knowledge that they gained from here, from the University of Canterbury. So may I say, can I have everyone to please say to everyone, and then of course my Samoan will lead this song here, Ua Whawhetai, and so thank you to the University. To please.
Ua whawhetai, ua whawhetai, ua mali e mata e vai, ua tasi lava oe, ua tasi lava oe, I lo nei whaamoe moe.
That is a very brief token of our appreciation to the university. Jane and others who are here, pass it on. Our love and our appreciation to the university for the contribution to Pacifica education. Well, as I said before, I think I wanted to begin my presentation tonight by referring to one of the metaphors that I grew up with. It's a metaphor of the corn shell, the 4-4. I guess the reason why I value the role of the metaphor of the 4-4 because it's got a power to bring people together. I'm thinking about the role of 4-4 in the village. That when you hear that sound, that you leave everything and you've got to move on and go to where the sound comes from. The role of the corn shell is important. It connects to people. It's something that I came up with. The ancient Polynesian custom of blowing the corn shell requests the attention of both God and peoples for directed communication between community, place and spirit. The call of the corn shell, ili le pu, or to plow, opens ethical and philosophical encounters for people, spirit and place. The physicality of the shell, ocean, air, breath, life is empowering. Consequently, in this presentation, I explore the sound of the corn shell to longolongat, or to let others know of its utility as a vehicle for communication, one that conveys a message of hope. That's basically what the role of the corn shell really in the village is, to bring people together, to seek solutions to threatening matters that are concerning the community, the children. So blowing the corn shell symbolizes coming to know the self in connection with others, past and present, the cosmos, land, sea, forest, the sky, and it's done within a specific understanding of itself as part of a greater whole. Well, I think this is the abstract I put up to promote this. So very much is tonight I thought, as Professor Jane said before, I just wish that my oral examination is done, but that means I have to be very, very careful in what I present tonight. So I will probably just present a very, very small piece of this. And of course, maybe some other time we'll be able to share the rest of it. But very much this presentation, the shaping of the Soalaupulega. If you want to take a message with you tonight, I want you to take that word Soalaupulega with you tonight, which I will talk about what that really means. In my doctorate, really, I was able to shape the Soalaupulega Samoa theory into a Soalaupulega Samoa research framework, which has happened in response to my own research to understand the effective educational leadership qualities for the success of Pacific learners across all school sectors. So this presentation is very much outline how Soalaupulega Samoa theory is a call for dialogue to discuss indigenous Pacific research methodologies informed by Pacific epistemologies and cultural practices. When I'm in this kind of space, like many other Pacifica scholars around the world, they make the most of the opportunity, take advantage of the opportunity to be able to promote their own Pacifica methodologies, their own epistemologies, so that they can be used in the formation of policies and development of models and things like that, to be able to do that. So about my own identity, as was said before, some photos there of my upbringing, my own family, my own environment back at home. Very much, as was said before, like many of others, it's important to us about our own identity, about our whasinumanga, where you actually come from. And a big part of that, of my own identity, is my large family, the Taleni family around the world. And of course, this is our own space back home. It's something that we always look forward to go back home, like many other, I guess, those are from the Pacific and other areas. Another part of my own identity, like many others, is the culture, as important. And of course, my own church as part of who I am. And it's important, like everybody else, that we're on our own way of, I guess, that we're connected to, and being able to support in the work that we do in the community and all that, part of the whasinumanga. I think this slide here is very important to me. The village of my own mum back in Samoa, very remote village. And I always remember those days during our school holidays. Mum will actually take us to visit her place and all that. And not to forget also, in a larger picture, part of my own Pacific identity. First of all, actually talk to me my own identity as a person, connecting to my own family and my village and all that. But not to forget too that we're belonging to, as Professor Pele Hauofa, one of my favorite, I guess, a quote from him: "We should not be defined by the smallness of our islands, but in the greatness of our oceans. We are the sea, we are the ocean, Oceania is us." It reminds me really of my own journey when it was said before that I arrived in 1985. Isolate from your family, isolate from your village, isolate from your people, and try to learn English as you go. So very often when you struggle, you think that you are on your own, not realizing that you actually belong to a large group of people, that you have your family, you have your village. Exactly what Professor Hauofa was talking about, that we should not be defined by the smallness of our own little family, that we belong to a larger village. I guess key part really of this is, as was said before, that's my research space. It's very much around Pacific education. You know, even when I was in Samoa, I taught there for a while after my own education there, then decided it was time for me to leave home, to come over, and being able to support the family and support my other siblings, like many others. I left our own island to come here and settle in Invercargill, beautiful Invercargill, and worked there for quite some time in schools, or pick up any job that I had in those days to look after the family, pay the bills, and of course, send the money over. I was lucky I wasn't married by then, but it was good in that time that when you're on your own, you own your money, and the money can actually send it to support your family, like many others that I've experienced in those days. But my love for Pacific education actually started well back from Samoa. My motivation really to be able in education actually started back from the island. So a few photos here, really what motivates me. The answer is these children here. This large amount of children here that motivates me in education. Well, in those days, my own neighborhood, you see people living in poverty, living in places like that. It's very common, really, in other places. And of course, it motivates you to do something about it in the future. And that's something really, I guess, when I left Samoa to come here, it was something that I was thinking quite deeply about, in some ways that I can contribute to education in some ways. And every time I go home, I always have my own children in the village. They run to you, they see you as a role model and see you as someone, and you grab them and you love them and wanting to do something to them. And of course, I guess this is something that hugely motivate me. It's the impact of poor education, achievement for Pacifica people. They may result in poverty. Not all of them. Not all of them. The high rate of unemployment, low paid jobs, the unachievement in education, poor health, high youth suicide rate, poor housing, and more. And a lot of these social issues are the impact of poor education. In terms of what, I guess in my own experience of growing up there and finding out about it, it's all to do with that. So as I think about the complexity of finding ways to raise the achievement and raise the engagement of Pacifica students, I always think about my role. One of the chores I did growing up in the village is the untangling of the tangled net. I think one of those things that us people grow up in that part of the world. It's your job. Father, go out, take the net out, and come back and throw it over and expecting the children to come and untangle it. And we untangle the net from there to the other side. Take a long time. These guys are laughing because that's what they do too. It's something that we are familiar with, untangling the net. And then the father will come and have a look at everything and making sure that the net is properly untangled. The old man said, you know, we cannot catch fish without with a tangled net. It must be untangled first. So this is the kaupapa that I was thinking about as I was doing my study, my doctorate really, my thesis. I was thinking about a metaphor that really aligned with that thinking of that role of untangling the net. And then I compared that to the complexity of trying to lift the achievement of Pacifica students because of their own experiences they bring into the classroom. Their own experiences may not match with what they see in the classroom. And the idea really is try to find ways to untangle the net. And also at the same time, there are so many theories that I came across with. I was very much like this guy here, Freire's work on critical theory. It was very much talking about, I said it was very much into the theory, critical theory seeks to liberate human beings from the circumstances that enslave them. This idea was central to Freire's critical pedagogy to emancipate those in disadvantaged, poverty-stricken environments. I was thinking about Freire's work, critical theory, because it very much sort of talked to me. Of course, Freire's work was very much trying and come up with a critical pedagogy pedagogy so that children that comes from low socioeconomic can challenge those who, I guess, the hegemony, if you like, that come up with those challenge hegemonic forces or the control over things. So people like myself, I guess comparing those days growing up in that environment, I thought, well, whatever they come up with, I'll go with it. Until someone, the work of Freire, challenged me, that I have the power as well to challenge those hegemonic forces or those controls over things. And that's very much to do with the way that we can really think deeply about those ideas. And I thought Freire's work very much aligned with this whole kaupapa of raising the achievement and engagement of Pacifica students. And of course, in my own work, I said something like, in line with these ideas, my research seeks to free Pacifica students who have been in a prison-like environment where their learning and achievement outcomes in New Zealand have been constrained and resulted in disadvantage for too long. Backed up by the Ministry of Education, the contribution of this disadvantaged pattern of unachievement has had a flow-on influence to high Pacific unemployment rates and subsequent poverty. Well, our own colleague, Mustafa Foy, his own words. He once said in many of those Talanoan conversations, I've already told you about my aspirations and dreams, so what have you done to them? It's a challenge really to put out there by Mustafa Foy. I think so many times we have research and finding out about Pacifica achievement and all that, we keep bringing things forward and all that. But it's about time to do some work on that, to making sure that Pacifica children will be able to be as successful as others. So this is critical because Pacifica students have not been able to fully navigate the seas of opportunity. Who's got the answer to this? In this particular research, I turn to the area of leadership, as I believe leadership holds the power and the keys to unlock these opportunities to free Pacifica students from the misery of trapping and also enslaving. So I guess my whole research really is coming to the middle of it, as I said, I'm only looking at the methodology really of the research and in align with leadership as the main topic really of my research is looking at the impact of leadership, how leadership actually changed the educational outcomes for Pacifica students. I keep thinking about the untangling of the net. So bringing the leadership in, what can they do, what can leadership do to untangle the tangled net of disengagement and unachievement of Pacifica students? Well, because this is what we want. It's basically the opposite of what we saw before. We want Pacifica students as a result of good education, high achievement in education, high level of engagement at school, well-paid jobs towards the end, high rate of employment, good health and well-being, and also live in better homes, for example, and also in prosperous life. And very much this is a topic of my doctorate. In Samoan words, o whaatama soalaupulega tautai matapalapala. And translate as a soul-searching and far-reaching voyage of the Tautai. The issue is very broad, it's very deep, it's serious. The impact of poor education to Pacifica children. And I cannot actually think of any deeper words in Samoa to use, apart from what I've got up here. The whaatama soalaupulega tautai matapalapala. And of course, try to translate that so it can be, it can go a little bit deeper in terms of my own translation. And I thought about the soul-searching and the far-reaching voyage. As we can see, when you're on the sea in the time of storm, so how can we get away how can we get to safety, to a safe destination? It's very much to do with the work of the Tautai. It's the work of the navigator that actually get us, I guess, to safety, and of course get back to our own village and our families and all that. Well, so this is very much my whole, I guess, leadership research framework. It's called Soalaupulega Samoa Leadership Theory. It comes from the village. It comes from I guess the collaboration formed by Matai, formed by chiefs in the village. It's called the Soalaupulega, the Soalaupulega Samoa Leadership Theory. And I sort of define this as a Soalaupulega, an indigenous collaborative approach that its sole purpose is to disentangle complex issues in the village or community. This disentangling is performed by Matai, or leaders. And of course, the meaning of the word Soalaupulega, divided into those words, come from those words, Soalaupule, or Soalaupule meaning to share your knowledge, have a say, to voice an opinion, or simply to make a contribution to the consultation. Soalaupulega Samoa theory is a multifaceted and multidisciplinary collaborative approach for developing resolutions in any context, such as education, health, politics, families, community, all groups, and all organizations, church. It is an indigeneity-based theory of rigorous cultural practice within its sole function to explore solutions for concerns that threatens the well-being of a community. So that's what Soalaupulega is all about. It's all about, it's a deep consultation, conversation, bringing everybody in to be able to consult and seek solutions for those matters that threaten the community. Driven by Samoan, carried out by Matai for the benefit of family. Soalaupulega Samoa theory is ultimately focused on betterment outcomes for the village. There's some popular saying here, we hear all the time in a village. A divided village experiences adversity, and a united village prospers. And that's what Soalaupulega is all about. It's bringing everyone in together to be able to consult. It's very much the equivalent of pai, in Māori. So of course I can actually sort of relate where the Soalaupulega actually connected to the narrative of a famous sort of legend of the warrior, Princess Ngā Very, very quickly, just going through this. This is very much about Ngā Whanua. She was born and brought up in a village, Soalaupulega. She was a queen warrior, a warrior princess of Samoa, historical chief, and a warrior hailed from the Tonu Maipea clan. She was bestowed all 4 major titles, the leading ali'i title of Samoa, known in Samoa, the Te Whaiwha, and daughter of Savesi Uleo, also considered a god of ali'i, of Purotu. Something about Ngā Whanua, that after Ngā Whanua's death, she became the goddess in Polynesian religion with historical and mythological traditions about her. Her legacy has been captured and nurtured throughout the fabric of Samoan society. Known for her courage, perseverance, and love for her people, her leadership encapsulated all that is Samoan. And the story of Ngā Whanua's era is a remarkable narrative of all time. She led the civil war known as the Tautua. Tautua lea e sae, ma lea e sifo between her western district and eastern district. Through her mana, or her integrity, the courage, and courage, Ngā Whanua was able to bring both districts together in peace. After her victory, Ngā Whanua took possession to the 4 major chiefly titles of the district: the Tuia Tua, the Tuia Ana, Ngā Tua Tele, and Tamaswali. And what was so significant about the work of about Ngā Whanua's time, she therefore established the whaamatai, chiefly system of government that continues in Samoa today. So the Matai system is, I guess, right across the Pacific. It's a well-established form of government, a village system that really deals with matters pertaining to the village. And the model, I sort of come up with a model here, utilizing Ngā Whanua's weapons of war. And on the foundation of that, it's got this foundation, which translated as relationship and optimism and high expectation and visionary, we'll probably see it in this. Ngā Whanua's air preparation for a war. Her father was able to prepare those 4 weapons, and given those indigenous, Samoan indigenous terms, tawhisilawhai, meaning relationship, uli masao, positivity or optimism, and whauriritō, meaning, I guess we're giving the term visionary, and whaamatinga taua's high expectation. And of course, going through the meaning of those words, relating to leadership. So tawhisilawhai refers to a leader who values the importance of building relationship, the importance of relationship in terms of our own leadership in schools and in our community. The uli masao refers to the positivity and optimism. Leaders that are positive about the future of the village, or future of the community, future of the church, future of the university. And of course, whauriritō refers to a visionary leader. You know, when we think about the 150 years of the University of Canterbury, I'm sure that we have a visionary leader right when they first started the university. And also, I guess it refers to the whauriritō. And the whaamatinga taua is high expectation. A leader that denotes a leader who values and exhibits high expectation for the success of others and is fully aware of the hard work and perseverance. And of course, also have the proficiencies. You may have seen the polls. So these are the proficiencies that every chief or matai, when they come into the village or when they come into the meeting, they must bring this proficiency with them to be able to contribute to the conversation. They must have a clear vision. They must have a broad vision. They must have flexibility, the confidentiality and stickability. They must have, they must dare to seek wisdom from others. Just come up with a model that really bring those utilizing those proficiencies. So as you can see, these are the skills or proficiencies that every matai, every leader that come into the consultation must bring with them. And of course, I mean, if we talked about 50 matai that come into the village and bring all these 9 proficiencies, well, we will be able to seek solutions to those threatening matters in the community. And of course, the meaning of those, tofa manino, refers to matai or who have clear vision about things. Tofa mamao, leaders with broad thinking. Tofa sa'ili refers to those chiefs, those leaders who don't actually really rely on their own knowledge. But those are the leaders that go out and ask, I guess, and seek knowledge from others. They don't think that, oh, well, I don't need to ask, I know everything. And of course, tofa sa'ili refers to those leaders. They don't actually just rely on their own wisdom or their own experiences, but they're able to respect the value, the opinions and ideas of others in the village. Tofa Taleni, those leaders who are open-minded. Matai, they maintain open-minded about perspectives of others. They respect other chiefs because that person of all others presented know that everyone's contribution is valued and being taken into account. Tofa Loloto are referring to deep thinking. Those matai who think deeply about their family, about their community, about their church. Tofa mau refers to confidentiality and commitment. You know, when you have the meeting in the village, and the high chief might say, hey, so make sure you don't tell everybody what we talked about tonight. So tofa mau refers to that, stickability. So particularly when you live in a village, in an open space, people can actually go to a house next door and tell them what has been discussed and all that. And this is why our people come up with all these, because to protect, you know, it's okay here in New Zealand. I mean, yeah, keep your mouth like this. You know? But when you're in an open, the time that you finish the meeting out there, oh, hey, what did you talk about today? What was the conversation? Here we go. You see them under the palm tree or having a little chat. That was about the meeting. So tofa mau is about confidentiality and commitment. And it's a very, very good skill to be able to, particularly in research as well, the confidentiality and the voices of the community that we gathered and making sure that they are kept with respect. Tofa liu is adaptability. You know, those matai, the meeting may go on for a long, long time. The young matai try to stick to it, but the matai right at the back there said, oh, you know, he has flexibility. Maybe because he wants to go home, but you know, sometimes you have that flexibility. You have that adaptability about solutions, about things to talk about. And tofa tatala is the ability to speak up. Those matai, I guess those leaders are encouraged to speak up, you know, because they are representing their own family. They're representing their own hapu, their own iwi. So they must speak up. So tofa tatala, when you're representing your family, you're not going into the meeting to sit there and not saying anything at all. You are there to represent your family, representing your community, your church, that you speak up about these things. Tofa pa'ia, it's an important one of all these, referred to deep spirituality. It relates to the concept of spirituality, which recognizes the role of spiritual beliefs in relation to worshiping Almighty God, and also our spiritual connection to the cosmos, to the land, the environment we live in, our stories and our ancestors, the wisdom that chiefs share during tō whalainga o Soalaupulega reflect tō whāpaia. This proficiency brings to discussion the special spiritual dimension that is sometimes needed to demystify complex issues. So as you can see, those 9 proficiencies here, as I said before, the matai, the chiefs, when they come to the consultation, you're making sure that you have those 9 proficiency with you to be able to contribute to the untangling of the net. Coming to the end. So I was also interested in, when I put this together, I thought this is interesting. The relationship of my model, Soalaupulega, to dynamics of life, connecting foundation and pillars. You know, I guess we talked about social, intellectual, and all that. Same as the 9 pillars of the Soalaupulega framework tie into the 7 dynamics of life. For example, tō whamanino and all that. I'll just show you here, this diagram here. So there are all of those, say for example, the relationship, they're related to the sociological, emotional, spiritual, physical, cultural, and psychological. Optimism or positivity, it relates to the physical, emotional, intellectual, sociological, and psychological. Same as the visionary leader, connected to physical, spiritual, cultural, sociological, emotional, psychological in some ways. And also the high expectation, the intellectual, physical, spiritual, emotional, and all that. So there's a connection of that Soalaupulega to this dynamics of life that we experience. I wanted to bring to a close this part of it by, I guess, referring to this large tree here. It's known in Samoan as a native tree. It's known as aoa tree. My recent trip to Samoa to see my mum, I was able to go out to our own land, and I was quite surprised to see the aoa tree is still standing. Of course, I remember those days growing up. You know, it's been there for a long, long time. And the reason why I'm bringing this to my attention, in connection to my Soalaupulega, I thought, you know, the role really of this big tree here, I guess during the cyclone, you know, people can go underneath and they find shelter underneath. And also with all the vegetation underneath, it's safe. The little trees that grow up and all that, enjoy it under there, under the shelter of the aoa tree, massive aoa tree. You know, I was thinking a lot there. It was interesting because I took the photo of it when I was there in May. I thought, oh, it'd be nice because I haven't. And then I realized when I came back, I thought, oh, this connects very much to my Soalaupulega. I was thinking of the Soalaupulega as an umbrella of all other theories, Western theories that we'll see. My other colleagues may critique me in that, but I see the Soalaupulega as a massive umbrella here, and all other theories that come under it. It's like the role of the aoa during the cyclones and all that. Like as I said before, they've got massive trunks underneath. Children actually go and hide. When I was in Vanuatu, that's what I found as well. It's a shelter for those communities, the aoa tree. So, as I said before, so Soalaupulega is very much there. And all other all other theories that come under. Critical theory, Talano theory, kaupapa Māori theory, social, cultural, and whawhaletui phenomenology, and nice sprinkling really down the braided river and all that. Well, so that part is, yeah, I'm glad it's over. Now we're coming towards the end now. I guess I promote my lecture utilizing that prominent saying in Samoa. Pule Tautua, the pathway to leadership is through service. I was thinking a lot about a person to put in here, and I thought about my own mum. I brought my mum here, like you. You you will put someone there special to you that you know very well. And I know very well myself about my own mum in terms of the leadership, so her own tautua, her own service to the community, to our own village and our family. Just quickly really about this, there are 5 forms of tautua in Samoa. The first one really is tautua matavela, giving service with full commitment. Tautua ai taumalele, refer to those who serve their families from afar. Tautua toto, this is a deep form of service. We refer to those who serve with dignity and mana, like those who serve in the war. Tautua toto. You may lose your life for the service of others, for the protection of others. That's tautua toto. Tautua matalilo, service done behind the scene. Tautua nofo tuawai, referring to a servant that sits behind people but always ready to serve. So those are the 5 key service. And I often sort of challenge people, say, well, you have a look at those 5 forms of service. Where are you? What kind of service are you doing? And I'm sure a lot of them are actually at the tautua toto. They prepare to lose something for the service of others. And there are so many people in our community, in our university, they serve this form of tautua toto. They give everything, or tautua matavela. And there are so many of our Pacifica community that they work so hard here in New Zealand, but they are actually performing a tautua ai taumalele. They send money home to look after their families. They are here, but at the same time, they're doing that and all that. Yep, I think that was shared before about my own dad, what he said in those words. Well, I'm just finishing up now with some images here and at the same time, really grateful for the university, for the opportunity given to me and many others. I can see my colleague and good friend Fuata Noa here over the years in the work that we were doing. But very grateful, and also my community leader here. So I was just going to go quickly with some of the photos. Engage with future teachers, educators, leaders. I recognize Professor Gail Gillen here as well, particularly in her role as at that time, steering our waka and giving us, me and others, the opportunity to be able to develop such an amazing, a strategy to help our students, provide cultural experience for students-based malanga and all the experience that they gain. And many of those over the years, from 2003 to 2019. And of course, some of the highlights of my role before I came in was, coordinating a very important piece of work from the Ministry of Education called the Pacifica Success Taleni Project. We were able to travel from Invercargill up to Levin in terms of supporting Pacifica education of our children and our community. Of course, Better Start project. Professor Gail Gillen is a director, and the wonderful team are grateful that they are here tonight to support this event. And I guess one of the highlights, as I said before, I really acknowledge university for allowing to do some of these things in the past, being able to help out in other communities. Our community, our key community leaders over the years that have been supporting this wonderful work. Also engaging in professional learning, with many others, and of course promoting education. And something important, very special to me, like many of you, my own connection to my church, as you said, heard, and I've got a special role in my own church, being able to work quite closely with the youth and leaders in finding ways to support them. Okay, so I think that, very often sort of come to this last model here about the importance of nurturing the space. So te ule wā, you know, I guess I'm thinking about what an amazing university really to work in terms of nurturing the space between people, and we know the fruit of that is to have better engagement, better communication, better understanding, maintain ongoing and lasting relationship, and sustain mutual respect as a result of nurturing the space. Right, okay, so last few slides here is to do with very much with what the university has done, particularly with Pacifica people. And many of our students have gone through, as I mentioned before. I very much sort of thinking about the opportunity here. I wish many of our community, particularly our parents, because I really wanted to thank them on the behalf of everyone, particularly our staff, for their contribution to the university as well in some ways. Right. So I guess come to if I could call on Joe, so Joe Fletcher. I wanted to utilize this lecture as well as we come to the end to recognize four key, I would say, pioneers of our Pacific community. And of course, some of these key members have been critical in the work that has been happening in the past. Very much, first of all, wanted to recognize Te Whungalanga Tule, Mama Te Whungalanga Tule, a Niuean and Pacifica pioneer and leader. She passed away some years ago now, but I really want to acknowledge Te Whungalanga Tule in the work she did. I'm sure many of you have come across Te Whungalanga Tule. She's a fighter. She stands for Pacifica people. She challenged the authority, particularly in terms of supporting our team. May I, if the family of Langatule, are they here? Hi there, Mike. So it's a small token of our appreciation from the faculty and from the university to acknowledge your mama for her contribution to Pacifica in many years. Please give her a hand. Come here.
Whakalawhalahi atu kia matolosi. My name is Jess, and I am a granddaughter of our belated Nana Te Whungalanga Tule, and on behalf of our Langatule whānau, we would like to also say whakawalahi to you, Tufulasi, from some words, just in regards to your relationship with Nana, was that she'd be very proud of you and being able to achieve all the goals that you had set forward right from the get-go. So on behalf of our whānau, we would like to present Te value from one of Nana's artifacts.
Well, Reverend Fitfiti and Epeli and others probably you remember the day that Te Whungalanga Tule said these things in one of our meetings. When she said in her own words, understanding student identities and cultural, and she said, as a teacher we must ask, who are you? Where are you from? This breaks down the barrier. We then know who this child is, where he belongs, and call out his name. The village is where I belong, where I come from, where I lived with my family, where I slept beside my family and talked to God, and identifies all the little things that make this child special. Every child is special. If we ask this of a child in New Zealand, in our New Zealand village, this then allows the child to realize they belong, and in return she needs to ask the teachers who they are, where they are from, and who are their parents. It breaks down the barrier between the two. It establishes common ground. Another round of a hand for Well, another icon really is Tautua Lemalu. She resides in Dunedin, and one of the key pioneer of Pacific education over the years. So may I call upon Fuata Noa, of course, I say enough to come forward and receive this on the behalf of Tautua Lemalu. And of course, Sunga Reverend Whitwhiti Luatua, thank you very much for your contribution over the years. You know, many years that you have been able to connect with us in our education journey and all that. So once again, you come forward and receive. Thank you very much. And of course, last one really is Papa John. So Papa John, Cook Island, Pacific community leader from Cook Island, on the opportunity as well to pay tribute to Papa John at this particular time in his service. Health kicks in, but John is a strong man. So Tamapua, very grateful to have you here tonight to receive this on the behalf of Papa John. Thank you very much. So, in saying that, wanted to finish with this, and although we have tremendous strength and power as human beings, we do not succeed if we do not have wisdom to make good, solid decisions. It takes courage to make wise decisions. It is a very special saying as well to me. It's not about the house, but the people, which aligns with the saying in Māori, aha te mea nui o te ao, e tangata, e tangata, e tangata. What is the most important thing in the world? It is people, it is people, it is people. So it is not about the house, but the people. At the same time, University of Canterbury, it's not about the building, it's about the people. And I'm very, very grateful for that. Although we have massive buildings around, everywhere. But I'm very, very grateful for the University of Canterbury for what they continue to build the relationship with our community, with our people, because that's important. We have our Pacifica children coming in year after year after year after year. Why is that? Because they are happy with the university. They're not coming in because of the buildings. They're coming in because of the people and the importance of that. This photo was taken at my mum's village, and people are still living in this beautiful little taonga. Right, promise this is my last one. So something that actually right towards the end of my thesis, I was sitting there in Samoan in May, and I thought to myself, well, what are the people saying? What will they say to me as very much sort of final paragraph towards the end of my doctorate? And this is what I guess came straight from the people. Pacific parents and communities continue to be part of the art of playmaking and whala weaving because they want their children to be a critical part of the fabric of society. They want their children to be connected to an education system that genuinely cares about their educational needs and aspirations, that values their identities, languages, and cultures, that guarantees their sense of belonging. They wanted to see a discourse that recognizes what they know of their children, namely, that they are competent and confident learners and learners of promise. Well, that's it. Thank you very much.
Talo Falava, kia ora koutou, ko Joe Fletcher, toko ingoa. I'm the very lucky person who is somebody who's known Tufulasi for most probably about 15 years and been on a journey with him with research. And for you've always been there as well as a matai and guiding us. I'd just like to talk for a couple of minutes and then I'm going to ask if there's anybody in the, especially the Pacific community, who might like to say a few words before we close, ready for some beautiful kai. But Tufulasi, you put up the image of the late Amosa Whawhoi, and Amosa was a person who had vision and who wanted the betterment of Pasifika people, and he was a very special person who won the hearts of many, many people and many students. And I started with Amosa, and under the guidance of Tufulasi and Foi on our research journey with in the world of supporting Pasifika. And so I was very, very privileged, and I did that with my colleague Faye Parkle, and we undertook quite a bit of research. And then after a while, when Tufulasi came to the University of Canterbury, he became part of our research team as well, and we've had many journeys out into schools and talking and meeting with beautiful Pasifika children who were succeeding, who were doing really well. We wanted to find out why, and we found out that the culture was a key issue. But it's been an amazing journey, and then Tufulasi decided to do his Masters of Education. And during all this journey, he's been very supported by his beautiful wife, Jane, and their lovely children. And I think they've been a key thing that has always come through to me, is how his family have supported him. And during that journey of doing his Masters, he worked alongside our colleague, Professor Angus McFarlane, and Associate Professor Sonia McFarlane, who I know would love to be here today and would be so proud of Tufulasi. And then we carried on with that journey, and Professor Gail Gillan joined us, who you will have seen in the many photos with the Better Start Literacy. And Tufulasi's been a really key thing, Gail, hasn't he, in your Better Start to get that Pasifika voice. And I know from meeting with many other Pasifika academics throughout New Zealand how highly regarded Tufulasi is with the work that he's doing, and very widely supported by Gail. So during his doctoral journey, he's had Professor Gail Gillan, Professor Angus McFarlane, Associate Professor Sonia McFarlane, and myself supporting him. And today, we were hoping that he might have had his examination on Monday, but it didn't quite work out as we planned. But one of his examiners is here, but she's doing another little job for us on a program review. But it's we're hoping that the examination might be in a few weeks' time. So it's been an amazing journey. But I'd just like to take a few minutes now to invite people from the Pasifika community who might have some questions to ask Tufulasi or might want to make some comments.
Sorry, I'm not from the community, but can I ask questions? Thank you so much for teaching me this. I do learn a lot about the Samoan culture, the Pacific one. It's very rich. I see your passion, and you connect you to the family, the community, and the nature as well. I'm very impressed. I do have a question. So the question is, in your post, you said it seems you want to fight against the Western epistemology. But through your words, I see, although the language may bring a barrier for me, but thank you for putting the translation. I feel that it's so similar to the Western epistemology. We all, the science, before we just fight against each other, the religion war. If you don't agree with me, I kill you. But now we know that we don't need to kill other people. We're sick of that. We just debate, public debate. Everybody share a point of view. Just like you said, the leader of the community, ask everybody to share their point of view. It's so similar to the Western epistemology. So how do you think it's still antagonizing each other? Do you think that the problem is that if you think there's a Pacific epistemology and then Chinese epistemology, Indian epistemology, it's like a dividing people into each epistemic bubbles. But you said you want to build the common ground. So do you think it's conflicting each other?
Your name again? Your name, please. Thank you very much for your question. Well, to be honest, I think where I'm coming from, any opportunity that we have as Pacifica, we wanted to promote our Pacifica research methodology. We wanted to promote it because I think we have been, I guess, with the Western methodologies and all that, absolutely fine. But we actually, it's an opportunity really to value Indigenous knowledge with respect so that it doesn't die down or die out. And so bringing the Pacific epistemology through that Indigenous knowledge is very crucial, very, very, very important. You know, I guess we cannot compete with others, all right? Pacifica is very, very small in comparison, really, with the academics and all that. So any opportunity Pacifica that will have, we wanted to promote that. Not deny. I think we value and respect any methodologies, any knowledge. I think is a gift to be able to have that. So we actually bring that all together. We have I guess the models known as, I'm sure that you'll find it out about the Braided River. And that actually talks about the importance of those knowledge bringing together, the Western knowledge, Pacifica knowledge, Māori knowledge, and all other cultural knowledge that will bring them all together. All right? Thank you very much.
Whaftai tele lava Tufulasi, ma lo lava mole presentation. However, my question, I'm a little bit cheeky here, asking about what did that net look like prior to being tangled? What were the narratives behind when the net was perfect?
Good question. Yes, as I said before, I was very much looking for the epistemology really I was thinking about, all right, or the context from Pacifica to align with, I guess, to define what my research is all about. You know, I guess when you're involved in the untangling of the net for a long, long time, they're referring to raising the engagement and achievement of Pacifica students with all the challenges. And I guess, yeah, you've got to be very much involved in there to finding ways to untangle that net. When you have a tangled net, well, as I said before, we cannot catch fish with a tangled net. So that actually refers to ways that we can unpack, I guess, the challenges that our parents face in our community. You know, a lot of our parents, not everybody is on the same waka. Every parent are all in the same different waka. They're coming from Samoa, coming from the Pacific, coming from everywhere. Some have actually gone lucky enough to go through formal education. Some are unable to go through that. So no wonder why it's so hard to untangle the net. So when they get here, we actually rely on everybody really to try and untangle the net to be able to raise the achievement of our Pacifica students.
I think we've got time for one more comment or question.
Mono, Patulowe, Ipata, Paramota. Ani Amanoe. Tautala mal whaalalo. E fo ere e ma papa au le po i au tātou o tunu. Hao le nganga o nia fiafi na o na whaaso atu se langona o le nganga whaamalo mo le whaafitai. Lo fionga le lie. Whaafitai tele mo le whaasoa e le nia fiafi. O se mata upu tā ua lea mo tātou. Ai mai se lava ia le anu whale o le mata upu i tū tau a onga mo tātou tangata Pasifika. Hale silisili o ni tā ua le whaalongo atu. O le tā ua o le tau whama mau e afua mai te tonu o lau silafia ma lau soifuanga i te tonu o le ainga, o le nuu, o le kālesia ma le atunu. Le mātou te whapea tua ese, whatau whaaftai tele, i lau whato whala inga. O whiwa saa lea ua, wa i whanua le whato whala inga. Whapea atu se tala, whamalo whaile whaiva, lau fionga le li e. Whaingtale tapua inga le ainga sale walasi. E vai a ingo ma le toa. Fia fwoi le fionga le toto li. Sa sulu mo le tala. Ya, ma le pa ia ya. Le atu na ima pa ia le ainga li. Nei a fiafi, whaafetai tele. Whaafetai mo le amana ia fwoi e se tautua whaatau waa. Lango sua. I lau ngā luenga ai maise le wha moe moe le ua whaafonga i tātunu. Suppose I was just expressing behalf of our Samoan community, in that sense, deep words of congratulations and thanks to Lelie for such an in-depth knowledge of our culture, which is reflected in the work that has been done. And we were just saying thank you for all that hard work. And in addition, I also want to acknowledge with respect the support of the university, the management and staff that have added a lot of work to making this a reality. And our prayers is that may this thesis, when it's come out, be another addition of that wider knowledge to help education within our own Pacifica sector. So once again, thank you, and may God bless you with the work that you have done. Whaafetai lava.
Thank you so much. I'm a Pelimbongtinian graduate students here at UC. On behalf of our Fijian community, I think I'm so proud of the achievement of my brother. Although he's a Samoan, but he's here for our Pacific community. Sometimes I thought he's my brother from our Fiji country, because most of the time he was the one that encouraged me to come and study here at UC. Once again, thank you so much, University of Canterbury, in using our brother to bridge the gap that's been prolonged, distance. Most of the time when I drove past UC, I'm scared to come and study at University of Canterbury. But Professor Gale and other distinguished professors, you stoop down to our level and bring our community here. Now we belong to the University of Canterbury. Our Pacifica community has become part of University of Canterbury. And from a Fijian perspective, thank you so much for my brother for fighting for us, so that we can see the glimpse of the light and become, although we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. And we want to be a change in our community. I'm here just to congratulate you, my brother. You visited me in my home, and there are so many of us in our community already been graduated, some from University of Canterbury, some from our Institute of Technology, because of this gentleman here. And I think we'll be graduating together next year, my brother. And I owe a lot to you. And once again, thank you so much. Sorry, my Samoan brothers and sisters, I ask my brother Tufulasi will be singing just the first stanza on this song. Isa Vulangila Sandina, if we can just stand up and sing this song, I'll ask Miss Mbale, can you tune the Vulangila Sandina.
Still here? Yep. So we finished with our poiata.
Yeah, yeah. I mo me no hi va ko e ri ma para si. Yeah. O ko ri hu fa ka ki fa ta ko o jo no fa ki fa ki fa ri. Ya ka pa fo ki ka pa ta ku ni. Ko e ki o me mai he fia fi ko ni ki. Fa no fa fi fia i ta no Tufulasi tu mai ki ta fa no. Tu wa ko ma lo Tufulasi ko pou ai ngā ue ki a ko karu ngā hi tau ni whiha ko heke atu me tai muroi ki tai nimi. Te kia ke osi o kei hoko hoko atu te. Kia whakamālo ki api a koni ki university hono tukuange whai ngā maari e ki a koe mo tau tolu kātoa ke tau au sia ai whahinga whakakau kau koni o whia māku tau au ki ai e te saiange ako e tau whānau. Ke tau whānau koni e hoko hoko atu ki mua, ki kahau mo tau whānau koni o nau kei mea mai i he hala e ako, ke whānau i. Pako ia, ke mau hiva atu ki voi hiva ke whakawhiwhia ia ki koe. I know you're a man of faith, so to end the evening we're going to sing e honori to bring out the faith in you. I know you're a man of faith. And for everybody here, that I've said a few words in Tongan, but I think it resonates through the Pacific Islands and Māori hoki and Fijian. So, yeah. E tu tata, e waiata. I all know he honori, no doubt. Toru tūrau parea tūrau Hawaii.
Do you want to finish with a prayer? Tufulasi?
We'll come to the end of our program. Just before we go to share with the food, let me just bring our meeting to a close with a word of prayer. Lord, we started with you, and we turn the glory to you. We just want to thank you for the sharing tonight, especially a topic that has been presented to you with deep love and an extensive knowledge of culture and language and love of the people. And we pray that may this be a useful resource for us all, especially living here in New Zealand, leaving our homes back in the Pacific. Let this grow, the love of culture and language, and especially in the area of education. For this is why we leave our islands, because education is the key to success. And as we leave from here again, we give you thanks for the blessings upon Lelia and the gifts that he shared with us this evening. And we pray also for all our families and communities that we continue to embrace this legacy and knowledge for our wider use. And before we go home, we pray for the food that we're about to share to continue our fellowship. Before we leave, may te ata whai o tātou riki ko ihu karai, te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga tangtanga o ngā wairua tapu, ake, ake, ake. Amine.
Not much really to say. It's just very much, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. It's a privilege, really an honor to have your presence here with us tonight. It really means a lot to the university and also this particular event. So, yeah, tato, malanga malfile mo, malsaungale mo. Thank you very much. Good night.
And we give two big cheers for Lelia and the presentation tonight. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! And one for the university. Hip hip! Hooray!
We need a photo.
Good topic song there.
Probably going to go to get Sarah. Oh, we love you.
We need to get in the Gail needs to get in the Some of us are going to have to go in the front, maybe. Do you want me and Susie to go down? Oh, yeah, maybe. Me and Susie can go down. Come down. Yeah.
Can I just say for people eating that the gluten-free food is on the red table and all the other is on the black.
Someone's hungry?
3, 2, 1.
Good to see you. Thank you very much, President. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Old school. That's the real secret. You must be doing this.
Hey, Nettie. How's it going? Good. And you guys getting ready to move?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's so stressful. I found Steve's creative writing from 2011. I think it's rubbish. I've done something right. Well, I found it in mine. I was bad. Mucking around. Anything?
It's got a...
You got told.
Yeah, we never got that over the line. I mean, Lassie and I were still talking about a full man to recognise teachers' qualifications over here. There was the university and what was the Collington were talking about coming together to be able to develop and build upgrade while working. And so you can make some pay. We haven't got it over the line. We're working on so Paul Ring has been doing it with HEMA. I've been talking about trying to get that as I know. She's so tall now, so what happened? What happened? She's our little girl. Wow.
Long time, man. Yeah. It's been a long time.
How's Villa?
Great. I love
That's what you have to say. But actually, that's good. You got some good friends.
Yeah.
Got some teachers that care for you. That's the important thing. Yeah, he's up to Brazil. Wow. Yeah.
He's getting married.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
You already are invited.
That's right. Is it an Aussie girl?
Nah, Tautua.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on Lehman's mission, he baptized her mom.
Oh, wow.
She knows. I know.
They can't hide the secret.
That's right. Oh.
How are you? I always been up with your son at the singing.
I know. wants to start here. He already signed for one under 20.
Oh, it's exciting. Very exciting.
Sometimes you
What are they doing? Back in those days. But when you talked, you said, because you had the heart and you had the voice of your people. Yeah. That was good. We'll have to get together for lunch. I know, because it's busy, yeah.
Very good. Yes, I will.